Go to the type tool in Illustrator and create some type. Now it's a live type, so you can alter it at any point. You can also use it with Randomino. Now you can find Randomino via the window menu and Astute Graphics and Randomino. Now this is the 21st plugin from Astute Graphics. Please check out their website. They've got a wonderful trial system that you can try out all of their plugins, and also some freebies as well, Mirror Me, etc. So with Randomino, they're much the same, all these options. You've got colour, live effects, move. You can tell obviously what they do. Opacity, rotation, scaling, stacking order and stroke weight. Well, I'm going to go for colour. Now the one trouble with colour is because with this text, to actually use it live, you need to select it. And you'll notice straight away the issue. It inverts everything. So everything's inverted. So any of the colour range that I show you, you just have to mentally invert it. Otherwise I have to just keep deselecting all the time so you can see it. But what it does, you've got colour and they all work, all of these ones work much the same in terms of the functionality. And you can always reset independently default settings. It's a pity there's no overall default everything feature, because unfortunately every time you go to a different one you have to do default settings. So let's just go through with colour. Now you can see here all values are equally, so it's all nicely distributed. So if you've got this colour here all the way through, every single colour is used. But what happens here, it actually goes to use this one, the blues, more than the reds and the reds there. So it just distributes it. You can change distribution, you can have it go more for the reds, or you click there and it, obviously reds in this case, and so on. But you can change the range. So when you do that, you can just go say, you know what, I just want it to be more of the reds. So you can see the reds down here. And this is the best, probably to show it. The preview down the bottom, you can see the colours that will be used. Again, if I deselect, you will be able to see it better. But unfortunately, you need to select it. So, randomise. Wish the randomise was up the top. It's right down the bottom. I think it would be better at the top, but however, randomise. And you can see as it does it. Now, because like I say, because of the inversion, it makes it slightly hard. If I deselect, you can see now that it has gone for the colour scheme that's there. So be aware of that. So again, select everything. It does need to all be selected. It's just the way it works. Or just that. You can use just one on one. So you can randomise and you can see all the rest remain untouched. But I'm just showing, obviously I want the whole thing to be done. But you can do it just for one or two of the characters. So you got here, you can set a range. So 0 or to 360. Or maybe like say all reds, all greens, etc. You can just vary it all kinds of different ways. And again, randomise. And you can see as it does it there. And that's for hue. Maybe you don't want hue to change. So you can deselect the hue. So that's totally now it's only going to work on the saturation and brightness. So then I'm just make it very, very dark and then randomise. And again, because of the inversion, obviously you're going to see it lighter. But you can see the colours that it uses down there. Now, if you want hue back again, just put that back there and randomise again. However, you also notice there's an option here, and every one of them's got this again. Like I say, they're all very consistent. You've got step. So step here. Now, if you go for, let's go for, say, 30. So put 30 there, randomise. What it will do is it will only use 30, 60, 90, etc. So that's a really great feature. So you can have sort of gaps between them. You don't have to use everything. In this case with colours, probably not so particularly useful. But say you're using like stroke weight. You can set stroke weight to be every step is 5. So it will use 5, 10, 15, 20 sort of thing. So that's what that step feature is, which I think is very useful. And again, randomise all the way through those. And also you notice down here, you've got the option here for fills and you've also got for strokes. Now at the moment, you've got both set on and also whites as well. I'm just going to deselect that you can and just use fills. However, I haven't got obviously a stroke set up, but if I did, then it would randomise the stroke as well. with that turned on. However, you also notice at the top there's an option here, range and list. So go for list. Now the list is excellent as well because that sort of does the same as the step feature in the sense, but it limits it really to the ones you want. So you want all reds or all greens, you can just go there. So I'm just going to say add from selected. So I've got all these colours already selected. So if I deselect, so you can see there's the colours I've got selected, some greens, some yellows, a bit red. But again, I can just select all those and add from art. So, and all those colours, all the greens, everything that was in there that's decided, though there seems to be quite a lot in that list. It's a long list. And it gives you obviously all the details as well, the cyan, magenta, etc. Also, you can always turn around and say, you know what, I want to add some others. So you can always click here, little plus. So click there and that will add, say, white. But you can change it, maybe make purple. And again, plus. Obviously, you're going to be slow progress if you want to, but if you've got, say, like you want all purples or all greens, you could just use that plus. And also, you've got an option here for allow duplicates. Doesn't make much sense allowing duplicates, but what it does means if you can just say, you know what, I want it to really go for the sort of purples. What you can do, just go there, click it about 15, 20 times, and you can add loads and loads of purples. Well, all those purples will make it more likely that purple will be chosen. So that's a great feature, I think. And also, of course, you can, again, click there and add even more. Well, randomize, and you can see you run through, and it will only use these ones that are in the list. So that's just a really useful. Now, for some weird reason, Swatches is not available. I do not know why, because Windows, Swatches, the Swatches there, sometimes it appears. So I'm not certain what, maybe if I select that, no, just doesn't seem to come up. And also, there is a delete option. So you can delete the one that's selected. So you select one and you can delete. Again, probably quite slow if you've got 100 in there. Now, of course, I'm using very, very short sort of sentence there. But you could use a whole page worth of these. So you'd be changing the colours. Now, you might not want very intense changes. You might just want, you know what, let's just go and just change it. Very, very subtle changes. So let's just go back to the range, and you could turn around and say, well, this time I just want it to be very, very saturated there, low saturation, and just change it like that. Maybe dark, obviously it's text, you want it more dark. Maybe the hue, I'm not really interested in hue, and again, randomize. So again, you just see there, and then of course, click there, and you can just see now, you've got very subtle changes to that text. And that's maybe all you want, just subtle changes to your text. You don't want lots of colour change. So you can just use it just to quickly create very, very narrow band and maybe increase that there. And again, you've got the preview there, randomise, and you can see as you change it, you can see it probably much clearer, obviously the inverted, but just deselect that again. You can see the very subtle changes again of the greys and blacks. So that's a run through of that. But again, you've got opacity, so you can use opacity. Again, if you want to reset it, you always go to default settings, put it back to there, and you've got exactly the same range. So range 0 to 100. So if you click randomize, you can see then it will randomize all that. But again, you need to select it. Otherwise, it will just randomize the whole thing, which is not probably what you want. So you've got to select all that. All the text is selected, then randomize, and you can see it changes for everything, which is great. I think it's a really, really nice feature, but it does require you to always remember to select all the text. Otherwise, it will just work for just that whole object and not the parts of it. And again, you can randomize. And you've got steps again, exactly the same. So you can do it for 5%, 10%, 20%, 15%, etc. And also again, list. So you can turn around and say, well, I only want to randomize 50. So click plus and 100% plus there. So you've got 50 and 100 randomize. Now, if I go out of this and select those 50, 100 and so on, you can see that that's what happens. I think this is a really great plugin. Absolute brilliant. Lots of great possible uses for this. And of course, you can use it for other things, shapes, etc. as well. But I'm using it obviously in this case for type. But wow, for type, super useful as well. Hope you found this of interest. Thank you much.